Now, with export growth slowing, tariffs rising, and investors waiting for stronger signals, the business sector isn't just watching the SONA, it's looking for direction. Joining us now to lay out their top priorities is George Barcelon, the chairman of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good morning, sir. Thank you for being here with us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Good
Nice
morning,
seeing
George.
you, Kim. It's been some time.
Yes.
Nice seeing you.
I'm interested in hearing what you want BBM to say this SONA.
Yeah, we're halfway through the Marcos administration. What would you say is the temperature on the ground given the, all the external headwinds and our current macro position?
Obviously, of course, the president just came back from the U.S., no? And I think he gave importance to this reciprocal tariff issue. Of all the ASEAN leaders, our president is the only one who personally went and argued our case with U.S. President Trump. So it's been challenging, as what you've seen on the TV. President Trump mentioned that our president was quite a good negotiator for whatever it is. But what I'm saying is that in the SONA, the business sector would like to hear more specifics. Because the 10%, we're given from 17 to 19%, no? Now, but aside from that, the bigger issue is to allow U.S. imports tariff-free to the Philippines, okay? And that is something that we've been hearing different interpretation. The sectors such as agri is quite concerned. Because if it's an open, if it's a blanket 0% on tariff, that would be an issue with the agri sectors. So, but in some of the statements that were released by Secretary Frederick Go and also I believe Secretary Chris Roque, they said the free tariff would be selective. Okay?
Yeah. It's on. I just have a question, no? Because you said he gave importance to the tariff, right? And he's a good negotiator, supposedly, right? But Indonesia did not have to go to the United States. Their tariff went down from 32 to 19.
Yes.
So,
That's
can
what
you say about
the
that?
The president gave it importance. That's why he had to personally be there. But again, some of the other countries' leaders thought it better to have their financial people, no?
Trade people, yeah.
But that being said and done, it's really water under the bridge. So we have to live with it.
But I think Frederick Go said this is still subject to negotiation. No?
Yes.
That the 19 is not yet cast.
Yes, and that's the hopefully that's the positive side that the business establishment is hanging on. And I also heard the interview of our ambassador to the United States, Babe Romualdez. And there's a lot of work behind the scene. As a matter of fact, Ambassador Babe Romualdez mentioned that they're working at it. Hopefully, it could go lower pa, from 19%. But there was a statement that was quoted by President Trump that I don't know whether that statement refers to the Philippines. But generally, he said, I will not go lower than 15%.
Yeah.
And that is what we've been hearing in the European side of things. Because
the Japanese got 15%.
Japanese got 15%. So we, on our side, aside from the trade issues, our president or our government could also ask for more American tourists to come.
Okay, there's another thing, Mr. Barcelon. We can't just look at it purely through the economic lens.
Yes.
It's tied to broader cooperation,
Yes.
From defense to infrastructure, diplomatic alignment, and as you mentioned, tourist arrivals.
Yes.
When you look at the deal in its totality, not just as a trade agreement, do you see it as a win or as a loss? What are your thoughts, sir?
Actually, a lot of business people here expected more. On the other side, we have to be very open about it. We are close allies of the United States. We have extended a lot of, especially in the
Concessions.
cooperation on the military side. Okay, that is something that over the past year or so, we have been waiting. Ano ba yung kapalit? Okay. And we thought that maybe this time, this is where that we can see that the benefit of us being so closely allied to the U.S.
It is not yet hopeless. They can still negotiate it down to 15, right?
Yes, that's why I said there's still a bit of upside. When I heard Ambassador Babe Romualdez mention in one of the interview that it's still under negotiation, and but what's important to be clarified, I think, with the in the SONA of the president, is that to clarify whether this
The open access.
tariff-free open access cuts across. No, it's a blanket.
I think they were saying it's a motor vehicle,
Yes, yes.
soybeans,
Yes,
wheat.
yes.
That's,
But the
and
concern,
medicine.
yeah, the concern about this is what if on the side of President Trump, the way he understood it is everything, and it's hard for us to argue with him because this has been publicly announced and covered by worldwide television.
Looking at the bigger picture, sir, is the issue really the tariff rate, or is it our lack of long-term industrial strategy to build our capacity and scale our exports? What's the bigger picture here, and what are the gaps that come to fore in light of this?
The long-term planning, the NEDA has done its homework. They have presented the Philippine Development Plan for 2022 to 2028. We're not short on the planning side. What we're short on the gaps is the implementation. Okay, like President is quite aware about trabaho para sa bayan, which is good. Because we have still quite a high unemployment rate. And I have to commend the President, his sensibility about this wage increase. Both lower house, upper house have been pushing for a much higher wage increase. So President was, has the wisdom to see that it's a question of creating more jobs rather than for us to lose our competitiveness by having such a high labor cost. So I commend him for that. And also the fact that our inflation rate has been kept in check. Okay. A big portion, of course, is with the lower price of rice. So that's good because this cuts across the majority of our population. Okay. So the good side of it, of course, the SONA is usually wherein the President make his report on what are the things that have been done and have been helpful. But talking about the present situation, okay, which I think the President is quite aware of, the flooding that we see all over. Okay, my friend, Mr. Dennis Wee, called me up yesterday after and said, I was just flying around, because he inspects.
Who Dennis Wee?
The one, Converge, okay. Because he's flying around to check on his facilities. Yeah. So he said, wow, I did not expect La Union. Grabe daw. So that's a pressing issue now. Of course, in relation to that, we know every year, one of the biggest ticket item is flood control, okay, and all of that, which amount to, I checked, last year was 2024, budget was 242 billion pesos. For this year's in the GA, it's 257. Okay. And as what my good friend here, Ms. Anara, said, it's the question of implementation. Okay. So the fund, now I don't know how accurate this data is, no? Ang nagamit dyan, mga 70+% lang of the budget. But of course, you can understand sometimes may mga delay, or it's some of the projects that were anticipated did not go as smooth as it did. So those are issues. Food security is one. Now that we have this typhoon, we can expect lower harvest. Okay, and the planting season for the farmers on the palay, it's usually June, July, August.
It's flooded already.
Flooded.
Yeah.
Yung germination of the plant, sayang. In the past, when we have flooding like this, the harvest was reduced by sometimes more than 30 to 40%.
Yeah, and we're only at the beginning of rainy
We're only
season.
at the beginning.
Yeah. Mr. Barcelon, I'm going to have to ask you to hold that thought. We'll continue this discussion, but first we need to give way to this update. Okay, we take it back to our guest here, Paolo Barcelon with the PCCI. Okay, sir. Sorry, George. Paolo was who I was talking to a while ago. This is George Barcelon. Okay, sir, you just returned from Japan, a couple of foreign trips. What are foreign investors really saying behind closed doors?
Well, we attended a meeting in Japan with our counterpart, Kankairen, which is the Osaka Chamber of Commerce. Okay? And of course, they also take the cue from United States that the go-to place must be the Philippines. Okay? And we know we are in the radar, but there are certain gaps that we have to really fill up. Okay, you know, one of the concern, of course, it's our cost of power is quite high, and the other one that is sometimes overlooked. Well, actually, there are two. Our logistic costs. Our logistic cost is one of the highest. Okay? You know, by sea, by land, by air, it's one of the highest. So we have to work on that. And not to mention that this has been a perennial issue, the ease of doing business. Okay. Now, when you talk about the ease of doing business, it softens already. No? We're talking really, the reality is that the bureaucracy and corruption. Okay? We're just putting it in a better light, the ease of doing business. Okay? And in our trips from the private sector, we really promote our country. That with the decoupling of trade on the supply chain with U.S. and China. So we've been telling a lot of suppliers, okay, for them to relocate to the Philippines. Okay? And this has been consistently our message. But again, we have to make ourselves ready. And I've said many times, I said, look, we are in the radar, but we do need to provide.
We're always in the radar.
Yes, yes. But now we really have to provide landing lights on the runway. Okay? When I say landing lights, it means what I mentioned, power, ease of doing business, logistics. And with that, I would think that with what has happened in this tariff, reciprocal tariff, we have a certain comparative advantage, okay, in the whole adjustment on the reciprocal tariff. But the thing is, our industrial base among the ASEAN countries is one of the weakest. Okay? Just to add on, of course, we do have a lot of trade deficit with our ASEAN countries.
Yeah, I have a question. You said that we are in the radar. But if you look at our economy, we don't really have raw materials. We're really just, we import, if we are in the radar, we have to import raw material, assemble, manufacture,
yes.
and then export. No? So most of the raw materials are in the other ASEAN countries. So how do we leverage? You're saying we have the advantage, but if you look at it, we have to import all our raw materials from somebody else.
Well, of course, whether you'd be in manufacturing, of course, you need the raw material. But I think one of our edges is really our human resources. Okay? And of course, segue a bit the importance of education. But you know, we recently had our Visayas business conference, and we had this hackathon competition. And you can see a lot of young Filipinos. They have that talent on this new disruptive technology. Our young people grew up with that. Of course, formal education is just as important. So we now see that there's a lot of, the gig sector is growing. Yung mga freelancer, they know about IT, and that is also a potential for us. So human resource for us must be looked into, but of course, raw material is, supply chain is just as important.
Yeah. Sir, taking a look at where we stand now, we are a consumer-driven, import-dependent economy. What part of that narrative would you like to change? And what's realistic within our lifetime, perhaps even shorter, within the next 3 years of this administration?
structural change does not come very fast. Okay, we have Secretary of Education, Secretary Senator Sonny Angara. Okay, and we have collaborated with him for a couple of times, and we know that we have to keep focus on the education side. We do, sad to say, we do badly on the assessment, international assessment. Okay, so we have to approach it in a different way, like encourage, this gig sector, this industry. A lot of young people are taking it up by themselves. So I think there's an upside, but it has to be structured learning. Okay? On the side of one of the initiative of PCCI is TechVoc, technical vocational.
Yeah.
Okay, so we work through some of the companies for them to take in the students coming from K-12, okay, and have internship. Okay? And then hopefully that with the kind of background they have, no, they would be easily employable.
Actually, that's my question, no? Because the K-12 program was really to make people prepared for employment without going to college. But there seems to be a disconnect. Business still up to now, for menial jobs, still want college graduates.
Yes.
So how do you,
Well,
because you're the industry, you're the business sector, how do you convince your colleagues stop doing that? Because they say for menial job, you don't need college graduate, you just need K-12 graduate.
There's a, now that you mention it, a lot of businesses now, businessmen, they realize that sometimes you don't need a college degree for the job. Okay? And a lot of this, some of these, as I said, young people who are brought up, in this digital world, so they have a knack for it. Okay? But talking about given the choice for a company to hire, when you have a college student, that person underwent additional 4 years. Okay, so that's a lot of plus for them. So it's a question of the capacity of the businesses to absorb. So to solve that, the only way we can do it is for the local businessmen to expand their business, also for foreigners to come in, okay, expand their business. Now, I'd like to talk about the impact on the reciprocal tariff. Okay. Per se, one side is how we work our deal. On the other side, what's going to happen to the U.S.? The U.S. Import tariff before was like 2.4% across the board, generally speaking. Now with all of this new set of tariff rates, their average is going to be 17.5. So that, in a way, influences the cost of living in the U.S. So it's not my statement, but a lot of economists in the U.S. are saying that they may reach not up to the level of recession, but their economy will slow down. Okay.
Yeah.
If they slow down, for us exporting countries, we get affected.
Exactly.
We get
We
affected.
benefit because
Yeah.
we get,
Yes.
everyone's going to look to cut costs in the United
Yes,
States. As
yes.
growth slowdowns, they're going to look to cut costs, they're going to look to cut expenses,
Yes.
they're going to look to offshore things,
Yes.
and hopefully we can catch all of that. But our neighbors aren't just our neighbors, they're our
They're
competitors.
not standing still, right?
They're not standing still.
They're not standing
So we
still.
need to act fast. In that regard, sir, let's talk about the legislative agenda for this 20th Congress. The PCCI is endorsing 20 priority bills. Among them, which of the three would you think would have the biggest and the fastest difference?
One of the items there is about the maritime. And it's something that touches on the logistic sector. Okay? And we have to have laws that provide the private sector some leeway. Like the open access, the internet.
Okay.
Okay, that has been
Konektadong Pinoy.
it's a law already, right?
Not
And then-
Konektado Pinoy, not
No,
yet.
not that one.
Open access
the open
transition
access.
bill.
So now you have people in the business like the Starlink, all of that. No? They are providing connectivity for the underprivileged or for the less accessible. Okay? So these are works, as I said, it will take time, okay? But at least we start. Okay? We have about 20 items. there. As, of course, this is really for the president to glean over it and see what's important. No? But
For you, what's important in the 20?
you know, I mentioned earlier, in which the president mentioned in his SONA last year, education, health, food security. Right?
So what specifically about the three do you want him to pass?
We have enough laws, okay? But what really the business would like is that kind of environment wherein we are able to project ourselves, no? That not only are we ready for business, but we're ready for business like other countries in Vietnam. Well, wherein the rules that they have in attracting investors are very consistent. Okay? Here we have a lot of people would come here. You know, we talk to a lot of people visiting the Philippines. And the first priority is we want to be in
Pesa.
PESA, okay? Because there's no, the laws are clear, implementation are strict, and quite often.
So shouldn't we make the whole Philippines Pesa na lang?
That was the whole idea. I was in a meeting with the local government. I said, look, you and the PESA Secretary General would quote me that you should have the DNA of PESA. Okay? Because that will make our whole country attractive, not just isolated PESA zone.
Okay, another question, sir. A little similar, a little different. We just wanted to get not just an economic update, but also where we stand, perhaps morally and ethically, as we come into this SONA and the next half of the president's term. I'm talking about the impeachment. The Supreme Court just halted the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. What are your thoughts on this? Does this calm political risk, or does it raise new concerns, perhaps about institutional checks and balances? What are your thoughts on this very divisive issue?
Well, my personal thought, and of course, you know, getting feedback when I travel, is that the less back noises for the country, the better. Okay? If people see our country as, you know, unified, people are able to work together with different parties, that's a plus sign. Well, it's not peculiar for a country, no, to have a political squabble.
Noise, yeah.
Other countries have that.
Yes.
Hindi naman tayo lang eh. They have that, so they understand. But when it reaches a level wherein it creates awareness of other countries, na they ask, what's going on in your country? You know that level of back noises is
not comfortable.
not comfortable. Okay. We don't bother with their issues. Well, everybody has naman eh. You know, we're a democratic country, and you always have people, parties conflicting approach to how the government should be run. So my personal take, is that the less of this, the better. And I have, in my argument, as I said, shared with you, I always tell them, kayo rin eh, may problema rin kayo. Hindi naman kami lang eh.
Yes, that's right, sir. Well said. The less political noise, the better, because there are so many more important things that our lawmakers need to focus on. Thank you so much for your time, George Barcelon, the president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Chairman of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you again.
Seeing you again.